It is my great pleasure to introduce to Pet Radio Courtney Dasher and her dog Tuna. Welcome to the show, Courtney.
Hi, thank you for having us. Tuna is nonverbal, so I will be doing all the talking. You might hear him bark in the background, though. That's the best he can do.
Tell us the story behind Tuna. Tuna's become an Instagram superstar with a huge number of followers. How many? It was
10
like
million,
followers.
17 million, 50 million. No, 1.9 million. That's the correct number. 1.9 million followers on Instagram.
Well, that's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
So how did you and Tuna meet?
So I met Tuna in December 2010 at a farmer's market in LA when he was a 4-month-old puppy. And if you've seen his photos, he is known for his signature smile. And at the time, he didn't have any teeth. So I just had this little flappy gum dog with a pretty aggressive overbite, and we fell in love.
Now, was Tuna born into a puppy mill, or is there some other reason attributed to his overbite?
Yeah, for his overbite. Yeah. Well, I've been told by different vets that is kind of a result of inbreeding, that overbite, because he is a cross between a Chihuahua and a Dachshund. And traditionally, Chihuahuas have like recessed snouts, and then Dachshunds have more of like an elongated beak. So to combine those two together. So, you know, with Tuna, can you ask me that question again? Sorry, I just was looking at him and thinking of how to describe him. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, what you're describing is what we often see in dogs that are from puppy mills.
Oh, yes. No. So, you know, the background, I'm not really sure. The only thing that I was told from the woman that I adopted him from was that they found him abandoned on the side of the road somewhere near San Diego. So I always like to tell him he has a Mexican background, because I think he escaped over the border. They found him there. And then he was transported up by a local shelter up to LA. And then there was an independent rescuer who pulled him from the LA shelter and was showing him for adoption at this farmer's market. And then that's where I enter into the story. So I don't really know much about his background, but he could be a puppy mill dog. Nobody knows for sure.
Well, the important thing is that he was rescued and became a part of your loving home.
Yes.
Now, were you seeking out a dog with special needs when you found Tuna?
No, actually, prior to adopting Tuna, I didn't know anything about what that meant. I wasn't raised in a household where we were encouraged to adopt or foster. And so for me, I always had my sights on a pug. And I had actually declared to some friends when I was 28 that if I wasn't married by the time I was 30, I would essentially go buy a pug somewhere. And then fast forward, I'm 29 and I'm living in LA by myself, and I was told by a friend this concept of fostering, which would be kind of just a temporary companionship. And I liked the idea of that because I had a full-time job and a full social life. So I went to this farmer's market and saw Tuna. The record stopped when I saw him because I just knew there was something special about him. And so, yeah, I brought him home and became a foster failure, which is horrible, but horrible meaning to be a failure, but the best because it brought Tuna into my life. And yeah, so it was something that, you know, I never really planned to get a dog that looked like Tuna, but I am such an advocate for it now. Like I want everybody to go out and rescue a dog, especially dogs that have different disabilities or different kind of features, like maybe a 3-legged dog or a dog with one eye. I mean, they're so cool. And senior dogs are really, really important to rescue as well.
Absolutely.
Especially just to give them some great time before they pass on to doggy heaven.
Other than his overbite, does he have any other special needs or issues?
Well, his special needs are being completely dependent on me. He's like always he's attached to my hip per his choice. And no, it's a common question I get, especially when it comes to, does he have trouble eating? And I tell people that he just chews with his back molars like we do. And it's funnier to watch him drink water more than anything. I mean, sometimes it looks like he is straight up drowning because he's trying really hard to, get his tongue elongated to scoop in that water, but his nose is dipping into the bowl as well. So that's probably more of a challenge than eating is. But I make sure that his dental is taken care of annually, sometimes biannually, and then I brush them myself as much as I can, just to keep his teeth clean. It's his signature, so I need to do that,
Well, when you took him out for a walk or to the dog park for the first time, what sort of reaction did you get from people that saw him?
So it's so funny. It's because I've had this Instagram account since November 2011, and he's become kind of a household name for a lot of his followers. We've gotten recognized in the streets of London, in New York, like down in Times Square. I got kind of bombarded, which is so interesting because he looks like just a normal Chihuahua mix to me, but he basically, has certain qualities that people can spot out. So they'll just come up and they totally react in so much shock and surprise, and they just want to hug him. Some people cry. Sometimes it feels like he's a beetle and not like an insect from the band, We were just in Newport, Rhode Island. I didn't even know what Newport, Rhode Island was. It's this tiny, tiny island in Rhode Island, and he got recognized so much there. It was insane. And we were actually in Puerto Rico this weekend, and the same thing, recognized a few times. So, yeah.
Wow, you do a lot of traveling.
We do. We have a secondary account called the Traveling Tuna because we have all these opportunities to go travel, and he loves to do it, and so we bring him along for the adventure.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Well, what made you decide to open an Instagram account for him at the beginning of all this fanfare and before he became so popular? Why'd you do it?
So, Instagram was conceived in November 2010, and a year later I was encouraged by friends to start my own account, but I didn't want one for myself, and I had Tuna for a year at that point and had acquired a lot of photos, and so I decided to post one a day because I knew that his cartoonish looks would bring people a lot of joy and laughter, and so that's exactly what happened. And a year after he went viral, when Instagram featured some of his pictures on their personal account, and it was all a shock to me. This is never something that I expected. I jokingly sometimes, when people ask me did you want your dog to be famous? And I said, yes, it was actually my life goal to have a well-known dog on social media. No, 0%.
Wow.
I actually, there was a dog I used to follow before the internet was really even a thing, and she just would publish calendars and greeting cards, and I really loved this dog. It was called Mr. Winkle, and now I'm in the same position as Mr. Winkle, just on a different scale thanks to the interwebs.
Well, it's been quite a journey for you, going through all of this, and you've risen to the point where you're at the same level with the superstar cats on the internet, like Little Bub and Grumpy Cat and so forth. You're right up there with the best of them. Do you get approached a lot for endorsements or that sort of thing due to your notoriety?
Yeah, that's evolved a lot since Instagram has, with this new influencer status. But in the beginning, people would just offer certain products to trade, and it gets a little tricky for us sometimes because, again, we did not have any intention for this to become our business or to become these social influencers. So I'm very mindful about who I do partnerships with, and I also just, I want to make sure that everything we do is in brand. That's really important to us. And right now we're actually teaming up with NextGuard, and they created this incredible pet gift registry called itsadog.com. And it's something that I wish was around when I first adopted Tuna, because their owners can sign up, create a profile, and they can essentially register different products for their pet, and then family and friends can purchase these through a third-party site. And it's just a really great way to acquire necessary products for your pet. And it also is great because you can find pet advice and ownership, information about dog ownership, and register for those essentials. So something that I really believe in and think it's a really great resource.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And they're having some kind of sweepstakes?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. So
How does that work?
if you go to itsadog.com and you register your pet and create that profile, you're automatically registered into a sweepstakes where you can win up to $500 in monthly prizes now through October. So that's a really great perk, in addition to just having the registration of, this pet gift registry. But it's such a cool concept. I encourage everybody who's listening to go and create one. I have one for Tuna. Nobody needs to, please nobody get us anything because we don't have anywhere to live where we put other stuff. But you can look up, friends that have pets, and you can send them gifts. It's just a great concept. So it's awesome.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
One of them.
But I really appreciate your time, and thank you for taking this interview with us.
Well, what's your favorite way to celebrate your relationship with Tuna and his uniqueness?
Well, I think what I do is I just showcase his unconventional features through my Instagram platform to bring people joy and laughter. And so for me, it's the way of celebrating that he's different and that different is beautiful. And I think it challenges the standard of beauty and what's quote unquote normal to have in a dog. And so I try and use the platform to, celebrate the fact that he's different and that other people should go out and rescue dogs that are as well. And again, create the awareness for adoption and rescuing. It's really important.
My last question for you and Tuna. Do you have any tips for someone who is bringing a new dog into their home?
Yeah, I think that the most important thing that comes to my mind is just loving your dog with excellence. It's so important that if you are going to invite a new dog into your home, that you're available to be there to hang out and to be present as often, especially with the rescue, because you have to realize that sometimes they're coming from overcrowded shelters, or you don't know what their past history is. So just to make sure that the dog is acclimated in a very smooth transition, and if you can't be there all the time for the dog, then just make sure that you're getting a dog walker, and also kind of dog proof your home too is important. Keep some doors closed and maybe confine them to a space where they'll feel the most comfortable, and then you can get them used to the other areas of the house.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us about Tuna. For those few people in the world that still don't know who Tuna is, now they do, and hopefully, like me, they're now a big fan of Tuna, because I know I am.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for following along our adventure starting today. I think it's great. There's more to come.
And people can follow Tuna on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, they can follow Tuna. It's at Tuna Melts My Heart. And if you want to see our travel adventures, it is at The Traveling Tuna. And if you want to sign up for the pet gift registry, you can go to itsadog.com.
Courtney Dasher, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you so much.